It was really important for us that Lorient very much felt like it was part of this landscape. You don't get opportunities often to create buildings in such unique, protected environmental spaces. It had to be very organic and very simple in its form. The curves were important, but also was the simplicity of material choice that would weather in time. My name is Brook Monahan and I am the founder and managing director of Mosaic Property Group, who designed, developed and built Lorient. We're here today on the banks of the Maroochydore River. It's a really unique piece of real estate. You have a strong connection to both river, ocean and hinterland, which you just don't get anywhere else existing in harmony together. So you've got this building that literally has a connection to all forms of nature in one location, yet you're in the heart of the CBD for the Sunshine Coast. The overall architectural approach to this project, which was a really strong collaboration between Mosaic's design team and Bureau Proberts, the architects, was to create a connection and sense of relationship between the brother building of Avalon next door, but a very different aesthetic and a very feminine aesthetic that was all about curves and shapes. And the building at no point stops your energy flow, because all of those curves and use of layer of materials draws you through the site, through the landscape and eventually to the river. When you come off the street and you first go through the gate and entry into Lorient, it's very evident that this is a journey through this landscape zone where there's not much built form, because we've deliberately pushed the building as far back to the river as we possibly can, and that creates this luxury of sense of light, space, connection to landscaping, and then the residential aspects, the raised pool deck, wellness centre and the gym. Down the driveway and you approach this 8.5 metre tall mature Queensland kauri pine around this sort of cylindrical zone, which very obviously then flows up through the core of that 8-storey building above the podium. So you've got this really strong sense of connection at that point of materiality, embedding the building down into the landscape through this chiselled stone that our stonemasons painstakingly placed into the point where we didn't allow a grinder on site, because it had to be very organic in its form. When you come into the lobby, there's this curation of materials which are the same family but more refined than what you get outside in terms of colour and palette. And then as you arrive at that lobby, you just get this glimpse of the Maroochydore River for the first time. And obviously, the further you go down that path, that view opens up until you eventually arrive at the pontoon, and you've got this amazing connection to these beautiful crystal blue and green waters with fish life swimming around underneath the pontoon, and Goat Island in front of you, Mount Coolum to the north, and Cotton Tree and Pincushion Point to the southeast. One of the amazing design features of this project is when you come through into the main living and balcony and kitchen dining space, the whole view just opens up in front of you. One of the things that we worked really hard on was being able to push the view out to the edge. So through the dining and kitchen, there's no space that breaks the internal living to the external environment. And so we designed these massive picture windows that are sort of 6.5 metres wide by up to 3 metres high, and there's no transom or mullion in between. So what it does is it creates this sense that you're out in the ocean, you're out in the river, you're out in the view, and I think that's a really unique aspect of the design here. It's really important that the external architectural language talks to the internal architecture in terms of finishes and moods and materiality and colour. We've got this simple organic palette external with the Serrano European render and the quartzite organic stone with champagne screening and the gold bronze reflectivity of the double glazing. And then as you come internally, it's very much the same palette. The warmth of our American oak timbers through cabinetry and flooring really reflect the external colour palette of the screening. And then even through things like the natural stone that we've got internally and the fluting around our island benches is the same quartzite stone, just in a far more refined version of what you actually see externally. So we have a strong sense through our sustainability commitment to making sure that the footprint that we leave here has less impact on our owners and the residential project community over a long period of time. So that flows all the way through the project to nearly 100 solar panels on the roof, which feed all of the LED common lighting throughout the project, to rainwater harvesting and smart sensors around our garden irrigation system that change depending on time of the year and conditions of the soil and the garden palette itself. One of the things that we talk a lot about internally as a team is we're constantly trying to raise the bar. We call it earning the right every day, and our next project must be better than the last. It is about creating sense of place. And so what does it feel like to live in a mosaic home? And that's the thing that we measure our success mostly on. And we only get that from being able to interact with the people who buy into our apartments. And if we look at Lorient, the overwhelming success of this project has been people that just can't even explain fully what it is that they love, because there's so many little things, but they just love how it makes them feel. And I think the sense of how people feel is what really is at the heart of creating luxury residential homes.